Namaste, guys. Welcome to this Friday evening yoga, the first of our Friday evening yogas and the first of 2020 as well, 2021. So Happy New Year. Tonight we're going to use a belt for anyone who might need a little bit of distance between their hands, but a rolled up towel or a pair of leggings, something else that gives you length will do, and possibly you need a block to sit on, but that's entirely up to you. We're going to put the belts down for now and start by standing on our mats or in your yoga space, taking your feet nice and wide apart and then letting your knees be a little bit soft to give yourself some bounce, some elasticity. You can begin twisting from side to side. We're going to do this particular posture is called Kati Chakrasana. And all we're doing here is twisting around that central line that runs from the crown of the head down through the center of the body to the space between the feet. So avoid any swaying if you can, and simply twisting here. If you have sensitive knees, you might need to move your feet, and we'll all do that in a moment, but for now, doing that only if you need to. Beginning to activate your abdominal muscles. Think about drawing them inwards, upwards, letting the shoulders be soft, letting the elbows relax, the fingers relax. So the hands tap the body as you twist. And then when you're ready, you can pivot on your feet so that the twist comes a little bit lower into the legs, a little bit across the pelvis. Still with the same principles of that a little bit of engagement through the center of the body. And then if you'd like to, you can add a bend of the knees in the center. So a dip and twist, touching the opposite shoulder in front of you and the opposite hip behind. A little dip and twist, just to warm up the larger muscle groups of the body. When you're ready, you can let your dip go and simply pivot. And then let your feet come to steadiness and the whole body just sway back to stillness slowly, a little bit at a time. When you come back to steadiness, taking a moment to close the eyes or gaze at one spot and observe stillness after the movement while I let somebody else in. G6. So observing the body coming back to that sensation of perhaps a little stirring of the energy in your system. And here, now that we've stirred it up, we're going to place the hands onto the abdomen and take a few moments to breathe. So observe the breath that you find in your body, the natural spontaneous breath. Poppy, go to bed, please. This is a live class, please go to bed. That's it, done. Apologies. There are occasional hiccups in the system. So we're breathing, just our natural breath. And then on your next exhalation, engaging your belly muscles just a little bit to ease a touch more air out of the lungs. And then breathing deeply, more deeply into the chest, the back, the space under the shoulders. Breathing out, engaging that space in the abdomen behind the belly button to press a little bit of extra air out of the lungs. Breathing deeply into the rib cage, the chest, the back. Breathing fully out, that sense of emptying more completely. Breathing deeply in. And breathing long, slow breath out. Let's do one more like that. And then if you can, allowing your breath to find that rhythm whenever you're aware of it during this class, But now, relaxing the arms, you can open your eyes if you've had them closed, and beginning with some small shoulder circles. So just wakening up the shoulders. I want to do just a little here, our first movement, and in the opposite direction as well. Very good. And when you've done it with just the shoulders, we're going to place the fingertips towards the shoulders themselves and make our chicken wings here and do elbow circles. So a more full circle, rolling the elbows towards each other and apart, towards each other and apart. We'll do one more in this direction and then reverse the motion, going the opposite way. Forgive any of the thumping you might hear on the feed. It's just Poppy doing her thing upstairs. Very good. Then we're going to relax the arms down to the side. Keep the knees a little soft, and then with one arm at a time. So I'm going to start with my left. We're going to soften the elbow, make the hand really floppy, and make much bigger circles, finding space underneath the armpit and down the side of the body. So I'm almost twisting and side bending at the same time. If you feel that it's be useful to go in a different direction or in a different way, you can. We're going to reverse the direction as well. So just find a way to move, and your movement might look different, and that's okay because it's just the way you move. A little firmness in the belly to help stabilize, and allowing the head and the neck to be very free to join in or to sit out of the movement as you choose. Let's do the other side as well. Softening the elbows, softening the fingers, the wrist. And if you've been sitting at a desk all day, or if you've been doing some forward actions, so things that you do in front of the body, cooking, gardening, knitting, you might find that this is quite therapeutic. We'll go in the opposite direction as well. Just exploring that space, finding the space to move into. If you get any clunking or clicking, try not to press through it, just work around it, soften gently. And releasing. Okay, so we've got our sort of shoulders and chest all moving. Let's do something here for the neck. So standing tall, allowing your chin to find its way down towards your chest. And here, making movements that feel good to you. So perhaps rolling the right ear to the right shoulder, and then chin back to the chest, left ear to the left shoulder. And you might find that that's really nice. Perhaps that's not so nice. So adjust your movement to something that feels like it's useful, feels like it's doing something for you, without pressing, without pushing. And if you want to, you can lift the chin up so you make more of a circular motion. And as you do that, try to keep your mouth closed. Try not to drop your head too much behind the body. Go in both directions if you're circling. Try it with the face relaxed, the jaw relaxed, maybe a smile. And when you're ready, coming back to center. Very nice. And so anytime you need to release your neck during the class, you can. It's all good. We're going to now come down onto our backs to do a little bit of rolling around before we come to sitting. Okay, so how you get to the mat is entirely up to you. You can do a little squat and come down. You can just simply bring yourself down in any way that feels good. Now, if you're not used to being down on the floor, particularly if you're a chair yogi, just taking your time to transition between the two spaces. We won't be doing anything particularly strenuous on the back. Okay, and if there's anything you're not sure of and you want to rest out of this week or any week, you can go ahead and do that. So on our backs, we're going to leave the feet on the floor for a moment. Just let the spine settle into this, this new orientation. Arms rest out away from the body. Because it's evening time, we are winding down in our energy as well. So we don't want to stir up too much. And then when you're ready, you can bend your knees in towards you and just hold on either on top of the knees or behind the knees and make some big circles with the knees. And here, the effect is to massage a little bit the low back. It doesn't matter if you do quite a lot of wobbling around, that's very good. And you can go in the other way as well. And if you want your knee circles to be smaller, that's fine too. Knees apart is quite useful. We do always a little bit of knees together, or not always, but sometimes knees together as well. Then coming back to the center and see if you can make your knee circles alternate. So one knee going around out to the side and back, and the other going in its direction out to the side and back. I call this rock and roll. Very good. We're going the opposite direction as well. Super. And becoming aware behind the pelvis, in the low back, that sense of massaging and loosening off. Bring the knees back to the center. We're going to drop both feet to the floor and do a little swaying of the knees from side to side. So arms released away from the body. Feet are quite wide, and we're just going to allow the knees to come down towards one side, come up to the center, down to the other side. At the same time, as we keep this sway going, you can use a little bit of abdominal control, just a touch. We're not gripping, we're not holding, we're just engaging in the center to support the movement. And we're not trying to get anywhere in particular either. So control of the legs moving up and down is more important than where they get to, so that you could stop at any point in the movement and your legs aren't flopping to the floor. Then we're going to come back to center, and then leaving the left foot down, bending your right knee in, and you're going to make the biggest circles that you can with your right leg. So the knee is bent, or if you do it a few times with a bent knee and you want to straighten the leg a little bit, you can straighten the leg a little bit. But you don't need to do a straight leg. We're stirring the femur, the thigh bone in the hip socket. So if you get a clunk when your leg is straight, let's go in the opposite direction, then soften your knee, because it makes the lever of your leg a little shorter and the load a little lighter for the joint. Very good. We'll do one more in this direction. We'll float this foot down to the floor. Observe the difference between the two sides, and then do the same thing with the left leg. So it doesn't matter which direction you start in. I'd advise starting with your knee bent, just to find your way into the motion. And then if you want to, you can extend the leg. It doesn't need to be as extended as you can make it, because the idea here is to make the circle as large as you feel that you can. Let's go the other way as well. Again, you can start with the knee bent if you want to. This is my clunky direction. So I've got one clunky hip, and this is the direction in which it clunks the most. That's maybe an overshare for this evening. But observing yourself, how your body is. And then you can float this foot down to the floor as well. Excellent stuff. So we're going to take the feet a little bit wider, but the heels a little bit closer to the buttocks if you can. And then pressing your elbows down into the floor and gently pressing the back of the head down. We're going to peel the hips away from the floor. So we come into a bridge type pose. And in this pose, we're going to hula hoop the hips. So allowing the hips to go around in a circle, a sort of sideways lateral circle, as if you were hula hooping. And we'll go the opposite way as well. And for anyone who this doesn't suit, just a gentle up and down of the bridge. we'll be fine. Coming back to center and gently releasing down. Very good. Let's extend our legs. They've been bent for a little while now. Extending the legs away from us. And as if you were waving to someone with your feet, just let your feet wave from side to side. Very good. Excellent. Okay, so from here we're going to bend the knees back up again. Again, they are very wide. The feet are very wide. And we're going to sway the knees from side to side, but this time trying to get just a little bit lower down, a little bit more space if we can. A little bit more space in our movement. And once you've gone to each side a few times, then resting the legs down, the knees down on the right side of your body. So the knees are quite far apart. This is the windshield wiper twist. And when you get into the position, if it's comfortable, you can hold here. And if it's not comfortable, you don't have to hold here. So you can keep swaying side to side, or you can come back to a more neutral position. And those who are comfortable here, we're going to reach our right arm out to the right and then bring our left arm over to meet the right. So we're peeling the upper body off the floor as well. And then reaching the left arm over the head and around the head as we roll the upper back to the floor. The arms are now far apart. We'll carry on that circle. The knees and the legs stay where they are. We reach the arm across, moving any part of the body that we need to get there. Doing one more big circle. And then this time, we'll reach the arm across, reaching the arm up and over the head. And when the left arm comes next to the left ear, leaving the arm on the floor there, softening your elbow as much as you need to feel that is a relaxing position. You can let your arm come down if it doesn't feel good up here. And then with your inner left thigh, gently allow gravity to draw the inner left thigh towards the floor just a little bit more, just a little bit more. But only if that feels good. And if that feels great and you want to do just a little bit more than that and you've got room, you can rest your right foot on top of your left thigh, and that will aid the gravity of bringing that down towards the mat. So here we'll take a long deep breath in and a long slow breath out. Then we're going to uncross the legs if they're crossed, release the left arm down to the side, bring the knees gently back to center, and in the center simply sway the knees from one side to the other. Just a little gentle sway. They're not twisting, they're just swaying. Good stuff. And then we'll let the knees come down on the left side into our more full twist. And once we're there, if it feels comfortable, and flexing your feet can help to make your knees a bit more comfortable in these positions, but don't try to flex as much as you can. So again, back gripping or forcing or holding. We're going to reach the right arm over to the left hand. So the upper back rolls away from the mat. And then reaching the right arm, touching the fingertips towards the floor or on the floor, all the way over the body so that the upper back comes back to the mat. And then reaching the right arm to the left hand again. Doing another big circle here. Hopefully it feels a bit more familiar on the second side. And then on our third circle, we're going to reach the right arm over until we get to the right ear. The back of the shoulder of the right side is on the mat now, and if you can, soften your arm down. And then allow gravity to aid the inner right thigh towards the mat. Just feeling that slight increase of length across the front of the pelvis. And if you've got space, then you can rest the left foot on top of the right thigh, and that extra weight will help to improve the stretch. For a deep breath in and a deep breath out. Uncrossing the legs, bringing the right arm down, bringing the knees back to center, doing a gentle sway one way then the other. And we'll finish here with a little bit more hula hooping. Pressing the elbows down, the back of the head gently engaging with the floor, pressing into the heels to lift the hips up, and maybe pressing just a little bit higher into the upper back as well, and making those hula hoops with the hips. And we'll go the opposite way as well. Very good. We're releasing down. We'll bend our knees into our chest, just hug them towards you a little bit. And for those of you who don't mind to roll backwards and forwards, we're going to do that. For those of you who prefer to come up to sitting by rolling to one side, you can do that. So for those who are rolling, we're going to massage the length of our back by rolling from hips, or sit bones rather, to shoulder blades, backwards and forwards. And if you can, balance at the top of your movement. Very good. Balance at the top of your movement. If you rolled to one side and came up into sitting, you can balance on your sit bones as well and just hold the balance. And this time, when you come up to balance, make a shape. Doesn't matter what the shape is. Roll back down, come up, make a different shape. We're going to do 3 or 4 of these. Woo! Wonderful. Last one. Woo! And then come to sitting, catching yourself if you can, if you need to rather. Excellent stuff. So if you want to have your belt close by, now is the time. And if you want to lift yourself up onto something for sitting, whether that be a chair or some blocks, then that's a great thing to do as well. Carry on. So here in our seated position, we're going to take a moment to allow our body to assimilate all of that information we've just given it. So all of the work that we've done with the nervous system, with the muscles, with the fascia. Let us sit, just taking a few of those deeper breaths like we practiced at the beginning of the class, softening the features of the face, swallowing to relax the jaw, the tongue. Notice any changes of sensation from the beginning of the class to now. And then when you're ready, you can open your eyes. And so this week is all about cultivating a positive mindset. And I did have a whole spiel to say at the beginning of the class and then got distracted by Poppy coming in, so apologies for that. So this week we're focused on the concept of giving and receiving. So often we get ourselves into a less positive mindset by giving too much of our energy out. So we're constantly doing things that use our energy and disperse it towards other people. And that's great. We should do a little bit of that. But if you don't ever pay back, then that leaves you feeling depleted and overwhelmed, can lead to feelings of anxiety and worry as well. So it also can lead to feelings of feeling like you're the only person doing something. So that's sort of, I don't know what that is, like a little bit frustrated and angry. So we want to pay back this energy that we expend by receiving, by giving towards ourselves. And so today we're going to work on that. We've already done a lovely massage and an articulation through the body. And now we're going to help to release some of the tension across the jaw, which can be difficult to release sometimes. So taking your first 2 fingers, I'm going to place them underneath the cheekbones here. And as you place the fingers underneath the cheekbones, just moving your jaw up and down a little bit, or side to side, so you can feel that band of muscle that joins the top and bottom jaw there. So that's what we're looking for. And we're going to press gently here, just underneath the cheekbones, and then slowly open the mouth. And then slowly close the mouth. Move your fingers down a little bit so they're just a little bit lower down, pressing gently in Slowly open your mouth. And close your mouth. Difficult to do and talk at the same time. Moving the fingertips gently down, slowly open the mouth. And closing. And if you've got room for just one more, perhaps just along that lower jaw, slowly opening the mouth, pressing gently in. And closing. Very good. And then using your fingertips again at the top of that band of muscle, just making some nice circular movements. And you can move them down, and you can also move them back towards your ears. So there's another muscle just behind, sort of where the L shape of the bone of the jaw is, just before the ear, rubbing down there with a nice circular motion. And then once you've done that, releasing your hands and just moving your jaw from side to side a little bit. Or circular. We all probably look quite startlingly funny, but nobody can see you, so it's great. Okay, so taking your fingertips and then placing them just in front of your ear, at the front of that side part of the neck. We're going to gently press and rub and move our fingers down towards the collarbones. So just nice circular motions down towards the collarbones. When you get to the collarbones, it's the sort of inside top of the collarbones, a really gentle massage here. You might find there's a little bit gritty or grainy, and that's okay, just moving gently. And then across the collarbones themselves and underneath. Just a touch underneath, you might feel the top of the chest muscles there. We'll do the same thing just behind the ear. So taking the fingertips to the space behind the ear, but also at the side of the neck, so not behind the neck. And starting from the top and working down, we're aiming for those bunchy muscles that are at the top of the back, on top of the shoulders. Mine are enormous, or at least they feel enormous to me. I think it's from all of the plank poses. Okay, so we're just rubbing there. If you want to use more of your hands to do more of a release, then you can. And sometimes it's quite nice to knead here, so to squeeze and release, just as if you were kneading some bread. Very good. And then we're going to bring the hands back up to the start, and then take the fingers behind the ears and work towards the knobbly bits at the back of the skull. So we don't want to press hard here. We're just doing a nice release there, knobbly bits of the back of the skull, and perhaps a little bit with your fingertips, all of them, into the scalp at the base of the skull as well. Again, not hard, just a gentle pressing, gentle circular motions. You can do the same thing from the top of the ears, from just the temples, back through the hair on the scalp. Oh, that feels so good. Really great place to release tension from. Let's do one more of those from the front, from the temples, all the way back. Very good. And then we're going to take our hands and cup them. And we're going to put one hand behind the neck at the base of the skull and one hand over that protrusion that we have at the bottom of the neck and the top of the back. And we're going to rub them towards each other and apart like this. Okay, so not too firmly, but just rubbing together and apart. You can do this with your head upright. You don't need to bend it forwards. Very nice. And then changing your hands, so the opposite one's on top. And doing a little bit more. Excellent. And when you're finished, you can relax your hands down and take a moment to feel the effect of that. And then explore your neck by turning your chin from side to side, You're not trying to turn as far as you can, you're just feeling how it feels in your neck. It's not about the movement or the shape, it's the feeling. And then dropping chin to chest and raising the head. Feel how it feels. Mine feels deliciously warm and tingly. And then perhaps a little bit ear to shoulder, not too far. Nice. Nice. Okay, come back to center. Righty-ho. So we're going to do Gomukasana. This is the posture with both hands behind the back. And for this, you might need a belt. So if we take our, let's see, we'll take our left hand behind us first and our right hand over our head. So putting the belt over the right side of your shoulder, or the length of whatever you're using over your right side. We're going to take the back of the left hand and place it against the bottom of the back and then slide it up as far as feels comfortable. And so not forcing here. This is, I've got an old injury on this side. So this is the side where I need the belt. The head of your shoulder might be set slightly further back. Mine doesn't go further back. So with our other hand, we're going to make big circles with our other arm. Soft elbow. Big circles to find that space underneath the armpit, to find that fluidity of movement underneath the shoulder blade. And then we're going to take that hand and place it behind the head and rest the head back into that hand. And then in this position, with the back of your left hand up your back and your right hand on your head, we're going to do a little bit of circling the upper body. So it doesn't matter if you're on a chair, you can be sat with your legs out in front of you. Knees nice and soft would be useful, but you don't have to be sat cross-legged at all. So just circling, exploring how this feels, this sort of openness. And then when you want to, coming up right, coming back to sitting and joining your hands together either on your belt or in the fingertips, which would be great if you can do it. Okay, so once you've got that, what we want to do is we don't want the top elbow, that right elbow, to fall forward. We want that to be as lifted as it is able to be without any strain. And a little touch of control on the abdominal muscles will stop you overarching the spine. So we don't want to overarch the chest either. Settle back into the back. And then when you're in a position that maybe doesn't feel too comfortable, but that you can hold, we're gently going to turn the head from side to side. Excellent. And then perhaps taking the ear towards the shoulder or the chin towards the chest. If that feels good, you can look up, you can look down. You might find that simply having your head turned over your left shoulder, chin turned over your left shoulder, is where I get the best sensation of opening. So I'm going to hold there for a breath in and a breath out. And then gently release my hands from the belt if you're using one. Reach the top arm up. Slide your bottom hand down and let it come around your hip so that you are releasing it a little bit at a time. And it's one of the best things that we can do to keep this openness in the front of the shoulders. So let's take a moment to roll the wrists. Make any cool, funky movements that feel good to you. And then we can swap the belt to the opposite side. I don't need a belt on the other side, so that's great. And work to the opposite side as well. So sliding the back of the right hand up the back, from the base of the back to up towards the shoulder blades if you can. That space between the shoulder blades, if you reach it, that's great. If you don't, that's what the belt's for. Then we'll take our other hand and we'll make a nice soft elbow and then make some lovely open movements with that arm, that shoulder. Remember, let your head and your neck be free in their movements. Don't hold them rigid. Next time you go around, reach for the back of your head and allow your head to relax back into your hand. So it takes the tension out of your neck. And when you've done that, then you can begin stirring your upper body. So just folding forward around to the sides, a little circular motion. You can go in both directions if it feels good to you. I can't remember which direction I went in last time, so I'm going to go in both this time. That's always the way of it. And then when you're ready, you can come back to upright, join the hands or use the belt to bring the arms towards each other. And check that that top elbow is lifted. Little touch of effort, touch of engagement across the belly muscles. Check you're not arching too much in your spine. And then when you're ready, you can gently turn your head from side to side. It probably feels differently on this side. Just observe. Maybe chin to chest and lifting, maybe ear to right shoulder, obviously. And then if you find something that feels good, for me, it's turning to look over that right shoulder and holding for a breath or 2 breaths. Try to soften the jaw, trying not to grip in the face and the jaw and the tongue. And when you're ready to release, bringing the head to center, reach the top hand up and gently down. Slide your bottom hand down your back and around the hip. Oh, that's nice. And rolling the wrists or shaking out the wrists, rolling the hands, whatever feels good. So if you're on a chair, you can stay on a chair. And if you're on the floor, we are going to lengthen our feet out in front of us a little bit and taking the knees a little bit, a little bend in the knees, but the feet apart. And here we're going to make circles with the knees, rolling the knees towards each other and apart, rolling the ankles at the same time. Okay? Very good. If you're on a chair, you do exactly the same thing, sitting on the edge of your chair, just extending your legs slightly away from you, making that rolling motion. We're going to go in the opposite direction as well, just feeling the femur bones, the thigh bones, rolling in the hip sockets. Very good. And then we're going to add ourselves to this. So rolling in the first direction and allowing your torso to move if you feel like it wants to move. And if your arms want to become involved, then you can use your arms as well. And this is a practice called the octopus for obvious reasons, although only a 4-legged octopus. Perhaps if you did it back to back with somebody, you would be like a 8-legged octopus. Rolling the opposite way as well. Opposite way with your arms. Very good. Very nice. I can see lots of lovely octopi on the screen. Lovely job. And coming back to center. Okay, guys. So we're going to do some hands and knees work now. So those of you who are on chairs, you can do the variations that we use in chair class if you prefer. And those of you who have sensitive knees, you can put something under your knees if you would like to, okay? So we're going to do cat pose first. So if you're doing this on a chair and you're come to chair class, you'll know. If you're doing this on the floor, tucking the toes under if you can, keeping them flat if that suits you better. We can have the hands a little bit ahead of us. Particularly if when you pop your arm in this direction, you bring your hand back. If there isn't a right angle, as you can see mine isn't, between the hand and the arm, then that means it's really hard to put your hands directly underneath your shoulders, which requires almost a right angle. So you put your wrists in a strained position. If you move them slightly forward, less strain. So hands and knees, however it suits you. Firm in the belly muscles, and then breathing in as you look forward, opening the chest. Breathing out, rounding through the spine, lifting the belly and chin to chest. As you breathe in, Feel like you're almost dragging the hands back towards you to bring the chest through. And as you breathe out, pressing the hands and the feet away from you to lift the back up. Breathing in. And breathing out. Breathing in. And breathing out. Let's take a moment to rest. Those of you who are using the chair, just coming to standing upright. Those of you who are on your knees, keeping the toes tucked under, bringing the hips down to the heels. If that's too intense for your thighs, then you can be up and you can come in and out of the posture. So instead of just holding, not with any length, you can come in a little, hold for a little while, and then come out again. Or if you're happy here, you can just hold in this position for a moment. We'll take a deep breath in and a deep breath out. Excellent stuff. So we're going to move in our cats a little bit more. So if you're using your chair, you'll know how. We'll take those on the floor, your hands a little bit wider, knees a little bit wider, and we're going to make a hula hooping motion, moving our navels around the mat. So, or around the floor, as if you were drawing a circle underneath you. We go in both directions. Again, letting the head be free, the neck to move as it wants to, the shoulders also to be free here. And then coming back to center. This time, we're going to bring ourselves back and tuck our toes flat and sit back onto the heels. Now, this might not suit every knee, and if it doesn't suit your knees, please don't do it. If you are a chair yogi, then taking a moment to simply sit down. You can actually turn the tops of your feet towards the floor one at a time on either side, or make some ankle circles, and that will be sufficient. If this feels comfortable and you want to do a little bit more, you can lean slightly backwards on your hands. And you can take that as far as feels comfortable. And if you feel like you've got more room to move, particularly in your ankles, you can lift your knees away from the floor. And so just becomes a little ankle stretch there. Taking a deep breath in and a deep breath out. Then we'll come back up onto our hands and knees, coming all the way out. And so chair yogis, we're going to do a downward facing dog now. So taking the back of your chairs, and those of you who are on your hands and knees, tucking your toes under, and we're going to keep the knees nice and soft as we bend, press the chest back towards the thighs and lift the hips a little. So really bent knees, chair yogis, really bent knees as well. And then we're going to lengthen our hips up, but keep the knees a little soft, and then take one heel to the mat. Come up onto your tiptoes, and then an opposite heel to the mat. So a firmness in the belly, pressing into the hands, and extending through one leg and then the other. At the same time, if you want to, you can look with your head in the direction of your straight leg. You can press a little bit more firmly to make it a little twisty, a little bouncy in the elbows. Breathing deeply. And then coming back to center. Chair yogis, you're going to come up now. And if you're on the floor, then what we're going to do is drop the knees to the mat and step the left foot forward to the hands. So chair yogis, you're going to keep your left foot forward and step your right foot back behind you, as if you were going to do Virabhadrasana, warrior one. So if you're on the floor, press into both feet, firm the belly, and we're raising the torso up. So we're coming into this traditional proposal position. Chair yogis, you're simply going to do warrior one. So back leg straight, front leg bent, arms on the seat. And then we will leave the left hand on the chair back or on your thigh. Raise your right arm up. And then gently leaning over towards the left side. Right hand back to the center and all the way down. One more time, breathing in and up, breathing out and over, breathing in and up, breathing out and down. This time all the way in one inhalation. So breathing in and up and over, and breathing out and back and down. Let's try that again. Firm the buttocks, tuck them maybe a little. Breathing in and up and over. Breathing out and down. And then from here, we're going to raise both arms up over the head, but in front of us. So if you want to, you can inch your front leg forward a little bit. Breathing in, reaching both arms up. Chair yogis the same. Breathing out and reaching down. And chair yogis, you can straighten your front leg. Breathing in and up and over, and breathing out and down. One more. Breathing in. Woo, she says. And breathing out. Ignore me, I had a wobble. And then from here, chair yogis step to the front, and mat yogis, we're going to come back into downward facing dog, hands to the mat, straighten the front leg, and then bring both feet back behind you, paddle through your down dog. Chair yogis, you can do a down dog as well on the back of your chair. Super stuff. Wobbles are all good. They help us to realize that we're alive. So chair yogis, you can step to the front, prepare to do your Virabhadrasana on the opposite side. Mat yogis, knees to the floor, and we're going to take our right foot forward and then pressing the feet away from each other, roll up into proposal position. Fantastic. So chair yogis, right foot forward, left foot back, front knee bent, back leg straight. We're going to leave our right hands down on our thighs on the back of the chair, tuck the tailbone under, firm the belly, breathe in, take the left arm up, breathing out, leaning over to the right side, breathe in, back to the center, breathing out, release the arm down, breathing in and up, breathing out and over to that right side, breathing into center, breathing out and down, press the feet away from each other, breathing in and all the way up and over, breathing out all the way back to center and down, breathing in all the way up and over, breathing out all the way back to center and down. Now chair yogis, straightening your front leg. We're going to breathe in as we bend the front knee and reach the arms over the head, breathing out. If you're a chair yogi, straightening your front leg, arms down. Breathing in, bending the front knee, opening the chest, lifting up, breathing out, and arms down. One more time, breathing in. No wobbles this time. Breathing out. And then we're going to reach down for the feet, or step towards the front of the mat if you're, step towards the chair, sorry, if you're a chair yogi. And coming back into downward facing dog for everyone who would like to. So if you're using a chair for your down dog, you're going to keep your knees bent and sway your hips from side to side. Mat yogis, you can do the same. Little softness in the knees, sway your hips from side to side like you're wagging a tail. We're going to do a little bit something else as well here on the mat rather. So coming back to center, taking your feet just a little bit wider, and softening your knees, dropping your heels to the right side, and then bend your knees really deeply like a squat, and then lengthen. Come up onto your tiptoes, drop your heels to the left, bend your knees really deeply, and then lengthen. One more time to each side, up through the toes and over, heels to the right, bend the knees deeply, and release. Up through the center, heels over to the left, bend the knees deeply, and release. Coming back to the center, taking the knees down to the mat. And then we're going to give ourselves a moment in our seated position. So coming back to sitting on your chair or sitting on the floor. And allow yourself a moment of stillness, so for your body to absorb all of that information. A few nice deep breaths. The next part of our sequence is going to be lying flat on the mat. So there is no chair alternative for this. So if you would like to rest out, you can, or if you'd like to join, you can, okay? There would be a chair alternative, but I haven't taught it to you yet, so we'll maybe do that this week. Okay, so we're going to come down to lying on our tummies. Just taking your time to find your way there. And just resting your head on the back of your hands, if you feel comfortable doing that. If you're really not comfortable resting your head straight down, then you can turn your head to one side, but just bear in mind that as we begin to move, it might be more comfortable to have your head centered. So here, we're going to press the right foot down towards the floor, and then lengthen the left leg up just a little, hovering the left foot maybe a foot's length off the floor and releasing down. Pressing the top of the left foot down, lifting the right leg up, hovering it just off the floor and releasing down. Same thing on the other side. So press the right foot down, lift the left leg up and release. Press the left foot down, lift the right leg up and release. Take a moment here, relax the legs and sway your bottom from side to side like you're wagging a tail. And then we're going to press both feet down, press the pubic bone down towards the floor, just engage the buttocks ever so slightly. And we're going to take our hands wider than our mats and roll our chest up from the mat. So a little sort of lowish cobra, but with really wide arms. And here we're going to sway the chest from one side to the other. So pressing firmly into the hands, allow your head to be free to move if it wants to, allowing the neck to join the movement if it wants to, or you can hold it in the center if you prefer. A little bit side to side. It's almost like a press up and then twist and fold. Press up, twist and fold. So just taking your time, gentle movements, doing something that feels good, feels useful. When you're ready, you can come back to the center, release the chest down, make a pillow out of the hands again, rest the forehead down. Take a moment to soften the legs and shake the bottom, shake your tailbone from side to side. Keeping the head down, bringing the legs back into a sort of active posture. This time we're going to press the left foot down, lift the right leg up, just as we did the first time, but this time bend the knee so you lift the heel of the right foot a little higher, and then gently lengthen and release. Press the right foot down, lift the left leg up, bend the knee, to lift the heel just a little higher, and then lengthen and release. One more time to each side. Press the left foot down to lift the right, bend the heel, keep the upper body really passive. Lengthen the leg and release. Press down with the right leg, lift the left, soften the knee to lift the heel, lengthen the leg and release. Very good. Allow your toes to come towards each other, the heels to come apart, and just gently rocking the hips from side to side. And then we're going to bring the elbows underneath the shoulders and do a little Sphinx pose. So this is Sphinx pose here. What we are aiming to do is to provide enough lift by pressing down with the forearms and the hands so that we can open the chest. So the shoulders aren't hunched, We're creating the space for the chest to move forward. And the low body is very passive in this posture, but if you feel a pinch in your low back, if you squeeze your buttocks ever so slightly and press your pubic bone down, it will help to iron out that pinch. Take a moment, deep breathing in and out. And from here, we're going to move into child's pose, so tucking the toes under, coming up onto the hands and knees, knees nice and wide, and releasing the hips back as you release the fingertips forward. If you can't do this one, lying on your back, bending your knees into your chest and easing through the spine this way. If you're in an extended child's pose here, we're going to come up ever so slightly and then feed the left hand underneath the right arm, take the left side of the head to the mat and soften the right elbow as well. So a little twist through the upper body here, taking a deep breath in and a deep breath out. And then make that right hand active. Walk the fingers as far away as you can for a deep breath in and a deep breath out. Relax the right arm, press into the right hand just a little to lift up, coming back to center. We'll do the same thing to the other side. So lifting enough to slide the right hand to the left, underneath the left armpit, soften the left arm for a deep breath in and deep breath out. And then making the left hand really active, walk the fingers as far away from you as feels comfortable for a deep breath in. And a deep breath out. Pressing into the hand just enough to come back to center. And if you can, taking your forehead to the floor or to some kind of support, we're going to turn the palms towards each other and bring the hands into prayer position over the head. So the underneath of the sort of tricep is a little bit lengthened here. For a deep breath in and a deep breath out. Relax the hands to the mat. We're going to come up onto our hands and knees just to transition all the way onto our backs. And so here is a time to grab hold of your extra brick block if you've got it. Let me just check the time. I want to make sure my clock is sometimes not working so well, but it is working quite well today. So that's good. Okay, so we're going to transition onto our backs with our handy block or sturdy book. And we just put the handy block or sturdy book to one side for now. So if you have been already on your back for a while with your knees into your chest, that's all good. We're going to go back to doing that. And just here, letting our knees be free so that they can move in any way that feels good. A little bit of action across the belly muscles. If this feels like too much strain for your back, just have your hands on the back of your knees or on top of your knees to provide a little extra stability. So just like we did at the beginning of the class. And then when you're ready, you can come back to center and float the feet down to the floor. We'll do a happy baby pose. So for those of you who might need a belt for this, you can grab your belt. We'll do it one leg at a time. So keep the right foot on the floor, bend the left knee in towards the left side of the torso. We want the foot to be as if we were going to stand on the ceiling, so almost parallel to the ceiling above us. And it doesn't matter how far away from you your foot is to do that. We want to try to bring the knee towards us if we can. If you can easily hold your foot, you can hold the outside of the foot or the inside of the foot. Those two holds are quite different across the shoulders, so explore which one feels best to you. Try not to let your right leg fall out to the side to compensate for this. So keep the right leg. It doesn't need to be rigid, but just active. And then taking a few deep breaths, really softening through the jaw, through the face, maybe even pressing the back of the head down just a touch to release tension from the back of the neck. Long deep breath in. Long deep breath out. And then from here, we're going to cross that foot over the right thigh. And what we want is for the foot to be beyond the thigh. Now, there are 1 or 2 people that this won't suit in our class. So for you guys, in between, you're going to do those wide leg knee shifts, okay? So just gentle, gentle. And then for those of you who are doing this pose, just ignore how dirty my feet are and bend your right knee towards you. We're not holding on, we're just using the effort of bringing the knee towards us, and we're going to sway the right knee from side to side. The left foot follows because it just holds its shape. The left leg rather follows as it holds its shape. And you can feel that sense of length of opening across the left buttock, perhaps the outside of the left hip. If you want, you can circle your knees here. And in both directions. And then we're going to float the right foot to the floor and extend the left leg up towards the ceiling. So it doesn't matter how up it goes. It can be down here, it can be bent in the knee as well, but up towards the ceiling. Roll the foot at the ankle a few times in each direction. Okay, lovely job. We're going to lengthen the left leg all the way down towards the mat. So the heel touches the floor, the back of the leg is touching the floor, and then slide that foot in, bending the knee so that the left foot's on the floor. And we'll do the same thing with the right side. So we're going to bend the right knee into the chest, towards the outside of the torso, so almost like the right armpit. Imagine that we're standing on the ceiling with this right foot, so we want the sole of the foot to be parallel to the ceiling above us, holding either with a belt around the foot or with your hand on the inside or outside of your leg. Try to avoid sagging into the left side of the pelvis. Keep it steady and stable. Let's take a deep breath in. And a long, slow breath out. See if you can relax your jaw, relax your face, and just taking another breath as you gently press the back of the head down. Releasing. We don't need to press hard, it's a really gentle engagement, quite subtle. After your next exhalation, releasing your foot and crossing it over your left thigh. We're going to draw the left knee towards us. And you might find that you automatically engage your tummy muscles to do that. So if you need to add a little extra engagement to feel stable here, you can. Swaying the left knee from side to side. And then making circles with the left knee a couple of times in each direction, or more than a couple of times in each direction, as the case may be. And that lovely massage again happening on the low back. When you're ready, you can float your left foot back to the floor, lengthen your right leg up towards the ceiling or lengthened in general. Roll the foot at the ankle a few times in each direction. And then we're going to extend through the right heel as we draw that leg down towards the floor. When it touches the floor, we'll slide the right foot in so that the foot is on the floor, the knees are bent. We're going to grab our blocks now. So here, we're going to press into the feet enough to lift the hips just a little and slide that block underneath the back of the hips. So we only want to lift enough to be able to do that. And once we've done that, we can take our feet a little bit further away from our bottoms because we don't need to press into them. We can simply allow the legs to be heavy into the feet, into the floor, into the back of the pelvis, and relax the arms open with the palms turned upwards. And finding a long, deep breath here. If you want to, you can gently sway your head from side to side, so turning your nose from one side to the other. Can be a nice way to release the back of the neck, the upper back, the shoulders. After our practice, particularly if you've held onto a belt in the last practice. And then if you want to, you can explore a little bit of leg extended here. So you can extend both legs and take them quite wide and let the toes fall out to the sides. That really opens up this space across the pelvis that we've had closed for a lot of our practice today with sitting and with being hands and knees into the chest. So that might feel super comfortable. If it doesn't feel comfortable, you can do one leg at a time and swap halfway through. Taking a few breaths on each side is probably enough. If you feel that you've got more room, that you could open a little bit further, you're not really getting that sense of opening here, then bring your feet back in and raise your hips just enough to turn your block up onto its second setting. So not the third setting, but the second setting. If you want to, you can add a second book to your stack of sturdy books. And again, you would first find if that feels comfortable with the feet just a little bit further away from the bottom first. And we're really supporting that, the sacrum, the bony part of the fused bony part of the spine that supports or joins rather, the two hips. That's what we want to support. It's not underneath the buttocks. The buttocks are completely free here. It's not underneath the waist or the low back proper. It's that space in between. And if that feels comfortable, then you can release your legs away long, turning the toes out to the side. And that might just be just the ticket. In my case, that's just the ticket. A couple of deep breaths. And again, if you want to, you can gently turn your head from one side to the other. Try to let go of any tension in the face, the jaw, but also tension in the chest, the back, the legs, the shoulders, the fingertips. I've never had tense fingertips, but maybe the fingers themselves. And then when you're ready, you can, it doesn't matter which position you're in, sliding your feet in, allowing the feet to support the movement a little bit. And if you've got additional support, lifting your hips enough to turn your support down or remove one layer of support. And then after another deep breath, we will do that one more time. So lifting the hips just enough to slide your support out from underneath your back. And as you release down, maybe you get that delicious sensation of the spine almost distending through the floor. And we are ready for relaxation. So if you have clothing to put on, then just rolling to one side to come up into sitting and getting ready with your clothing, your blankets and such like. I'm going to definitely put something on tonight. It's quite cold. I apologize for my lurid pink, which is quite bright at this time of night. I was filming something for the women's running group, and this bright pink is their signature color. So it's what I've been wearing all day. So here, if you want to, you can place a bolster or some cushions underneath the backs of the legs if you're going to relax on your back. If you wanted to take the opportunity to do legs up the wall, you can do legs up the wall here, but it's quite a long relaxation. So just bear that in mind. You might need to change halfway through. Whenever you're ready, settling yourself down onto your back, into your relaxation pose. So if you're in a chair, settling right back into the seat of the chair, you may prefer to recline on a sofa or on a bed even. If you're lying in Shavasana, feet nice and wide apart, with the toes falling out towards the sides, the palms turned upwards, but the arms released away from the body. And actually we'll do one last thing here. So in your chair or on the floor, crossing your arms over the body, over the chest, and just either hugging onto the sides of your body if you're in a seat, or letting your hands straight towards the floor if you're on your back. Let the weight of the arms find their way into softening that space behind the body, behind the shoulder blades. Take a deep breath in. And a slow breath out. One more deep breath in. And slow breath out. We'll do the same thing with the arms on the other side. So taking the arms apart and then crossing them the opposite way. Holding onto the sides of the body if you're in the chair, or just allowing the weight of the arms to drape against the body, the fingers straight towards the floor. Deep breath in. Slow breath out. Deep breath in. Slow breath out. Very gently releasing the arms, covering them back up with your blanket. Turning the palms upwards, releasing the hands away from the body, or resting them on your lap if you are seated. Take a moment here to take a final turn of the head from side to side. And then bringing your head back to center. Make any adjustments now. And when you're ready, bring your body to stillness. Take a deep breath in and sigh out through your mouth. Repeat 3 times. A deep breath in. Let all of your effort go. Deep breath in. Let your muscles begin to relax. Last breath in, and surrender your weight down into your mat. Take your awareness to your forehead. Feel it soften and spread. Feel the area around your eyes relaxing. Your mouth, tongue, jaw releasing. Become aware of the back of the body. Allow the whole of the back of the body to feel heavy, warm, supported, and releasing down. Move your awareness to the front of your body. Become aware of the space over you and around you. Feel the touch of air on your face. Feel the movement of your clothes on your skin as you breathe. Feel the weight and the warmth of a blanket over you. Feel the sensation of holding space in the palms of the hands, or the sensation of the hands against the legs. Move your awareness to your breathing and gently deepen your breath. Inhaling long and slow and deep. Exhaling long and slow and deep. Inhaling long and slow and deep. Exhaling long and slow and deep. As you breathe in, you're drawing in energy, prana, vitality, harmony, peace. As you breathe out, breathing out tension, fatigue, negativity, breathing out anything you don't need. Continuing to breathe in this way, a really soft breath, reflected, soft face and a soft body. Relaxing a little deeper with every exhalation. Gently begin to deepen your breath. Bring your awareness back to your hands and your feet by wiggling your fingers and toes. And beginning to roll your wrists and your ankles, getting a bit more movement, stirring it back into the body. When you're ready, take a deep breath in, stretch the body, stretch the arms, stretch the legs, maybe even stretching your face in a yawn. If you're on the floor, you can bend your knees into your chest, hug them towards you. Make any movements that feel good. If you're in your chair, perhaps turning your head gently from side to side. Taking a little bit more time to stretch if you need. When you're ready, you can roll to one side. Try to keep your eyes gently closed. And floor yogis, taking your time to come around. In your own time, come into any comfortable seated position. And everybody bringing their hands together to rub the hands vigorously, getting lots of heat into the hands, movement into the arms and shoulders, pressing them firmly, rubbing them hard. When they feel warm, it might take a little bit longer, but when they feel warm, Placing the hands over the eyes, so the palms are over the eyes but not touching the eyes. Blinking into your hands a few times. Releasing your hands down as you open your eyes. Namaste, guys. Thank you for joining me for this practice. And this week, I would like you to think a little bit about what positivity means to you. Think about the ways in which you draw more positivity into your life, the things that you already do, yoga being one of them. And think about perhaps other ways in which you could do that. I will be sending out some ideas, of course. And consider one person or one or two people in your life who are incredibly positive, who give off that sort of inner glow of positivity. And think about how it feels to be around them, and perhaps noticing whether it rubs off on you a little bit next time you're with them. And most of all, think about ways in which you can nurture yourself, take care of yourself, because without that giving to yourself, that receiving of energy, we can't give out energy in balance. Okay, well done, guys. Namaste.